Hello.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
everybody.
It's been quite a few weeks since we've done a recording.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, people get sick, people got shit to do, stuff like that.
That's
So,
how it be.
I had a very interesting conversation with Aqua today. I
Oh,
know
yes.
some of you may not know who Aqua is, but obviously, this is Aqua.
Yes, that be me.
And we were talking about how I spend a lot of time in writing communities. I love writing. Writing is one of my favorite things to do. And I've been writing for a very long time.
And you're very good at it.
Oh, come on. I'm not that good at it. I'm shit. It's garbage. It's all
No doubt.
garbage. Actually, before we get into the topic, I guess we will kind of address the first few videos that have been put on the channel. Um, it doesn't sound like it right now, but it was clearly very obvious in the other videos that, we're not used to doing this. And
No,
so,
not at all.
that whole like awkward starting out thing, I think most streamers and or most YouTubers slash, you know, anybody in the industry probably ends up getting that feeling the first couple times they record.
I'd
Because
like to think so.
yeah, because recording is a bit awkward, and I'm awkward as it is, and you're awkward as it is.
Uh-huh. Super awkward. The awkwardest.
All the awkward. Um, but so the goal of this channel, in terms of any of the projects that we do in the future, is to just be very casual. Um, I'm sure it's also very obvious we don't have the greatest mic quality. I am recording using OBS, and I'm still getting used to how recording works and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Most
Hopefully, maybe we'll get a better mic in the future. Who knows?
hopefully, but we will see. But until then, you know, we at least have a decent setup for all the projects we're going to be doing. A regular podcast is something that we would like to do. This is episode 1. It was kind of, one of those things we were sitting together and I was complaining about fan fiction stuff and the modern interpretation of what fan fiction writing should look like. So this is going to be, I mean, most of our projects, I'm just going to be very straight honest about all that. It's always going to be very um, informal. Like,
Yep.
I'm not looking to be some super formal YouTuber. I think there is a natural charm to being a channel that isn't looking to be super industrialized and super neat. I grew up in an era where that was kind of the charm of YouTube and the charm of a lot of these social medias that allow video platforming is
Yeah.
you
It was
could.
actually one of my favorite things about YouTubers back then is they felt genuine, casual, and relatable.
Right, exactly. It felt like anybody could do this stuff. You didn't need a fancy camera, you didn't need a fancy mic, you didn't need any of that stuff. It was just turn on the camera, put your mic near your mouth, and just go. And I would like some more of that content. So essentially, the content that is going to be on this channel is content that I would like to watch. And
Yep.
I'm one of those people, considering the topic of this particular video today, I like stuff that I can just listen to in the background while I'm working. And so if you'll notice, the setup is very basic. We just have the logo for the channel, and a black screen, and that's it. And I think honestly, that's all we really need. Because I mean, most
Yeah.
other podcast people, that is kind of what they do anyway. Or they're on Spotify and there's literally no image at all. You don't even look at the screen. So with that said, understand it's not, and I'm sure some people in the comments are going to be like, oh, it's low effort bullshit, it's all this stuff. No, That's not the idea. That we do have some nice topics to bring to the table. We do have things that we're going to give a
Yes.
lot of thought into.
A lot of these topics are going to be very interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, because we already have all of them written down. There's quite a few things, and it's going to be unscripted. We don't really do scripting. That kind of defeats the point,
Nope.
in my opinion, of a podcast. And I've heard of people who do scripted podcasts, and it's just very silly. Um, but you know, the main thing I want to talk about today is I've been seeing a lot lately in writing communities, and this has been going on for like the past 7 years, probably, maybe almost a decade. Um, there is this thing that has to do with how fandom and how fan fiction writing is now being done. And a lot of fans of fan fiction aren't really actual fans of fan fiction in the sense that they go and look for fan fiction and they're mostly looking for romance, boy meets girl or boy meets boy, girl meets girl, whatever meets whatever. And they're looking for, cheesy romance stuff, which is fine. We all
Right.
indulge in some fun stuff.
Nothing wrong with a good romance, but not
Right,
for what most people are looking for in this context.
right. And again, that's perfectly fine. My big thing is that I've been in a few chat rooms, especially on Discord, where, especially like the writing servers, where there is now this, how do I word it? Basically, it's people who don't actually engage in a fandom at all, but they want to engage in a fandom. And instead of doing the thing that you would do to engage in whatever fandom it is, like, for an
Right. Like
example, go ahead.
watch the anime it's related to or play the game that it's related to.
Right, like you're a fan of Undertale, so like I'm sure you've seen tons of crap related to
Oh
Undertale.
yes.
So like I
There's a
get,
fucking hill you could make with the amount of crap I have seen.
but like generally, when you're into something like that, you typically actually go and watch a playthrough or play the game yourself or play any of the fan games, engage in any of like the you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you would think that's what you would do if you were interested in the fandom.
Right, exactly. But that's not quite what's happening right now. What's happening is you have whole groups of people that are coming into writing servers and complaining, "Oh, someone didn't write this thing where I can understand what's going on without having to be part of the fandom." They've made a new term for it. I guess they call it blind read friendly or something like that. It's very silly. It's like,
Hmm.
why? Why?
Why would you go to into a fandom blind in the first place?
I don't get it either, and it's boggling my mind. I can understand the concept of you just want to like, pull up something that you've never seen before and read something new and interesting. That I can
Right.
understand. But you can't go to a fandom community and complain, "Oh, this writing that you did for this fandom you like? Yeah, it's not vague enough for me to just be able to pick it up and not have to know
Yeah.
what
It
Sans
doesn't
Undertale is."
it doesn't tell me enough about the fandom for me to understand it without me looking at the fandom, so it's not good.
Like, I don't understand that. Like, I'm not even a fan of Undertale, but I know who Sans and Papyrus are. Like, I think most people who have ever hovered around on YouTube or in gaming communities at least know who those two characters are. Or Flowey.
Yeah.
Like,
Most people probably would. They're popular enough.
right, exactly. And it's just getting really silly
Getting
because,
kind of stupid.
yeah, that's the better way to put it. Because, like, I'm big into Kingdom Hearts, and Aqua, you obviously are too.
Yeah.
And I had someone today who looked at my gigantic fan fiction for Kingdom Hearts because it's stupidly big. It's a little too big. Um,
Make it bigger.
but I don't wanna. I want it to be done. Stop making me make it bigger. But like considering how big it already is, considering, you know my writing.
Yep.
I flesh things out and I want my audience to understand what the point is of what I'm writing.
Yeah, considering how much work you've put into it overall.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where you have people reading it and going, you know, it's shitty because I didn't understand what was going on.
It's
And
shitty because I have no knowledge of Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, but I decided to read this anyway.
right, exactly. It's like, and I've asked people, like people who have given it bad marks, I'm like, what didn't you understand? Like, you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, right? And they go, no. Then why are you reading it? I literally, I went to a workshop once with this project, and I submitted like chapter 1 or 2 to the workshop. It was very early on. And the person went, I don't understand what's going on. What's the materia? What's a keyblade? And it's like, oh, oh no. Like you read my posting that said don't reply to this if you don't know fandom and you don't know Kingdom Hearts, right? Though I didn't really think it was a big deal. I figured you would explain it in the plot. It's like, no.
Yeah,
To
I don't
ex
think that's supposed to be how most fan fiction works.
No, not generally. I mean, you can always have like I have a how do we word that? It's like a
A
disclaimer.
library?
No, 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 no. I have like a disclaimer chapter that starts at the beginning of the fic that has like, this is the information you need to know if you're going to read this project, which
Oh,
that's nice.
right.
That's nice to have. That's one of
Yeah,
those things
it's
that's really
explained
nice to have where it's like, yeah,
blatantly on the front.
right. Like it's at least at that point, if you've not seen all of Kingdom Hearts, you at least know what is going to be contained in the fic itself. You at least know, hey, if I've played these 4 games or I understand the plot of X, X, and X, I will understand what's going on.
Right. It basically lets you know what you need to know to understand this fic.
And granted, I don't feel that everyone should even have to do that. But I did it anyway because the way that mine is designed, it omits a good portion of the series. It omits the Master Xehanort plot. So my audience needs to know in my disclaimer that we won't be using the Master Xehanort plot, or else that is going to confuse them. Because most people in the modern era who have ever played Kingdom Hearts have played Kingdom Hearts 3.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with modifying the plot a little bit.
No, it's absolutely not. I mean, that's the whole point of fanfiction, isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically how it is. Making a plot the way you wanted it to. I mean, that's essentially what fan fiction should have been.
Right. More what I like, obviously you know Aqua, I don't have to explain it to you, but
Mm-hmm.
like more what I'm getting at though is that like I shouldn't have to spend the first 7 or 8 chapters of my fan fiction regurgitating information that isn't mine.
Right. Like the first 7 chapters having introduction to characters that you should already know. Welcome, this is Sora. Here is his bio.
This is Sora. He has giant clown shoes. And he lives on an island with his 3 friends. And one of them is like a rock jock and thinks that like he's gonna go to other worlds. And the other one can't decide what boy she wants to be with. So she picks the not so smart one, is like, yeah, let's leave the other one behind, even though the raft was his idea.
Yep.
Let's leave him here.
Let's take the raft, just the two of us. We'll leave the other two here.
I'm Mickey Mouse. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how romance works. Oh, Mickey, no. Mickey, please. But again, like, I just don't understand. I should not have to waste like 7 or 8 chapters over explaining something that is not my work. Like the
Something that
I
people should already know.
right, exactly. Like because at that point, this new generation of fanfiction readers, what they're basically arguing for is that I should plagiarize.
Uh-huh. That's basically what they're asking for when they really put it that way.
Or not even necessarily plagiarize. It's like, yeah, you now have to rewrite all of Kingdom Hearts in your image.
Summarize the whole game.
Did you just say Silver Eyes?
I said summarize.
I was gonna say, we're not talking about that series today.
Not yet.
Not yet. But yeah, no, exactly. It's a waste. Literally, I'm wasting my audience's time if I write like that. And it's not fair to them.
No,
Why
it's really not.
why would I waste my audience's time making them read 7 chapters, especially if they are already invested in the series? Like, imagine it's someone who has played every single Kingdom Hearts game, has watched every single one of like the secret cutscenes,
Mm-hmm.
has played the mobile games, has watched the exclusive cutscenes that were sent out with 2.5 and 2.8 remixes. Like they've seen almost every piece of content for Kingdom Hearts. They're like hardcore fans. This
Yeah,
is
and then they hop into this, and it's like being babied.
yeah, it's infantiling to them. That they're just sitting there going, "What the hell is this? I'm not 5 years old. I know the plot of Kingdom Hearts. Why are you regurgitating it to me as if I didn't, you know?" And I'm not saying that we all understand the plot of Kingdom Hearts. that's a that's its own
Yes,
video topic.
that knowing and understanding are two different things.
Right, exactly. You know, we're not going to talk about Master Xehanort, but
Hmm.
it's another thing when you expect me to just basically take the plot of the first game and completely just rewrite it. Because that's not necessarily what fan fiction is. And if that's what you think is what fan fiction is, you're doing it wrong.
I mean, in a way, I kind of think it's insulting to the people writing as well.
Yeah, it's an insult to anyone's work. It doesn't matter like who the writer is or who produced the fandom. It is very insulting to just take someone's work and be like, I can do it better, and then just, rewrite the whole thing. And then be like, this is the new foundation for Kingdom Hearts for my fan fiction. It's like, no. It's different, if you change the plot, right? If
Right.
the goal of the fan fiction is you didn't like how something went, and I'm sure some people can argue that that's disrespectful too. A lot of people could argue that fan fiction writing in general is disrespectful to a fandom. But I'm not here to have that debate today
Nope.
because I like fan fiction, and I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah,
like fan fiction.
fan
But
fiction's great.
yeah, for sure. Um, but I'm sitting here in this server and I'm watching this conversation go down, where I have this person who is claiming that it is the fan fiction writer's responsibility to basically baby the reader and talk down to them and over explain the plot to make sure that they know what happens in the series.
No, I think it's more of a reader's responsibility to know what their source material is before looking into a fandom.
I agree. Like, You got me this year. You got me into The World Ends with You, which is another,
Mm-hmm.
Square Enix slash, Tetsuya Nomura thing that is connected to Kingdom Hearts. And I was having trouble getting into it because I didn't like the way that the games were designed. So you and I watched the anime.
Yep. Which
And
I honestly think is better presented in the anime than it is in the game itself.
I agree. It's probably not exactly the same. I know for a fact that I went back and I read up some plot summaries for the game, and there are some sections of the game that are done a bit differently, so it's not a one for one perfect adaptation.
No, but it gets the point across, and that's
Right.
all that really matters.
And at some point, I will probably sit and try and find a video that shows me cutscenes or whatever for the game. I was having trouble finding what I was looking for when we first started looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we will do that at some point. I would love to do that, honestly, because the series was pretty good. And it gave me the same vibes that Kingdom Hearts gave, but at the same time, it gave me something unique
Mm-hmm.
and interesting.
And the point is that you wouldn't have known that until you looked at the source material.
Exactly. Like, anyone could have shown me a picture of Neku, and I would have been like, oh, that's a Kingdom Hearts character, if I didn't know the source material.
Mm-hmm.
And considering that they do show up in the same series at one point, I mean, Dream Drop Distance has Neku in it.
Yep,
You
it
know,
does.
for anyone who's never played or watched anything for The World Ends with You, they're going to just assume that it's all Kingdom Hearts.
Right, and they would be wrong.
For sure. Um, but I just going back to the main topic, it's genuinely bothering me that is what the new era is ushering in for fandom and for fan fiction.
Yeah, it's kind of sad when you really think about it.
It is. It's also it's one of those things where I'm seeing it a lot where a lot of modern fan fiction, and this also bothers me. Because this same person who was having this conversation on Discord was saying how most fan fiction now is literally just you take two characters that you like and you don't even necessarily care about their plot. You just care about what type of personality archetype they have. And you just shove them into scenarios they would never be in, usually romantic ones. And it's all shipping and gushing about characters. And again, I've been in fandom for a long time and I love ships and I love to gush about characters.
Yeah, but
But
I'd
it's
never do something like that.
no, because it's not even the same character anymore.
No, it's just this character's face plastered underneath whatever personality insert here.
Right. And that's kind of what they were talking about is they made it sound like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't really matter anything about the character. It doesn't matter about their backstory. It's just, oh, they're named this because I want it to be associated with this fandom because you will associate it with this character's image. And insert X personality that I have perceived of this character. And now we're just going to write a romance fic. We're not going to use any of the original plot from the series. And it's just going to be, yeah, slice of lifey. They live in this town that no one's ever heard of. And they're flirting with this random girl. Usually a self insert. And it sucks. Like, if you're into
Yeah.
that, I mean, you do you, I guess. But there's
I
a
mean,
difference between that's something you're into and that is the standard.
yeah, and I honestly think it strips everything that people actually care about these characters into nothing.
Agreed. It does. And to be fair, in the other direction, there are plenty of series where there are characters that are never fleshed out, so we don't actually know what they would do, what they would say, or how they would react
Right.
in a scenario.
In that
However,
case, it would be a bit of a different story.
right. But at the same time, what's it called? at the same time, maybe it's just me because I've been writing for a long time, but you kind of get a sense of the archetype of the character, and you can usually make an educated guess as
I
to
agree with that.
yeah, like how they would react in a certain scenario.
Like, for example, Red from Pokemon.
Yes.
He's a silent protagonist, but you can kind of have an idea of what he might do in a certain situation.
Yeah, depending on if you're looking at, like, it also depends on what your source material is, too, because Red is a character that has shown up in multiple source materials. You have three different versions of the manga, you have the games, you have, other source materials that aren't the base material. Like, technically, he shows up in Smash. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it ultimately boils down to what perspective are you looking at? What evidence are you using? Because I really like to view writing projects like fanfiction writing. I wouldn't say like a research paper. That's a bad way to view that because that's not very fun. But you generally should be doing like a decent amount of research so that you can determine what you want to use, what you don't want to use, and even what you might end up changing. Because it's very silly to me to go into a project and go, "Oh yeah, this was all my idea. I wrote this. It was all me. I didn't do any research." And it's like, okay, but because you didn't do any research, you basically regurgitated something that the original creator already did. What?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't. That'd be like again, using Kingdom Hearts as an example. That'd be like if I was like, oh yeah, Xemnas, he's a time traveler now, and he's gonna go back in time to stop Sora from ruining the organization's plans. Gee, where does that sound familiar?
Knock knock, Master Xehanort is looking for you.
Knock knock, who's there? Keyblade.
Darkness.
Why is there this old man at my door? He looks
He said he
familiar.
wants his plot back.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. This is my plot. My original character do not steal plot. You know. Um, but yeah, so it's generally you should be doing research. I don't care what anyone says.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter what project they're working on. You
Yeah.
should be doing your own research.
Whether it's reading or writing, you should be doing research.
For sure. And like this becomes really important especially when it comes to like and I don't really want to talk about this topic right now because it is a topic that we do kind of have planned for a later date. But look at something like fan theory and like a lot of those communities, like the FNAF community.
Yes. The
Again,
FNAF
we're gonna
community.
probably have a whole video on that and a whole,
Oh, trust me, we'll get there.
but look at FNAF. You have characters in FNAF where Scott has not given enough information as to what the intentions are of certain characters. We've only seen a handful of things that they have done. So that
Yes.
leaves a lot of wiggle room for interpretation. And I am all for different interpretations of something. That's why we have things like look at how many Batman movies we have. With different interpretations on Bruce Wayne and Batman and the Joker and like 50 million other characters in DC Comics.
Right. And some do it better. Some have better versions than others.
Right, exactly. Um, so you can have an interpretation of something that is different than someone else's. I am all for that. And theoretically, that is a form of fanfiction writing, not gonna lie.
Yep.
But
It would be.
you look at something like FNAF, and it's like, oh yeah, William Afton kills kids. But what if he didn't kill kids? It's like, um,
And then that scenario is written out.
it's like, but he's always killed kids. What do you mean? What if he
But
didn't kill
but
kids?
but what if he didn't kill kids?
but but he always has killed.
But what if?
But what if he didn't though? Like, I don't think those stories are going to be very fun ultimately. It's even more
Like,
frustrating when someone tries to argue that something that is blatantly not canon is canon, like that. Go ahead, Aqua. You're going to say something.
no, I was pretty much just agreeing with you on this point. The
It's so dumb. It's very dumb.
canon is weird.
What's weird?
I said canon can be weird.
Well, it's more people's interpretation of
Yeah,
certain things in canon. Like FNAF, like I said, we're not gonna get into FNAF today because FNAF is one of those things where, you know, you could go on all day about FNAF. But
yeah,
in general, the idea of the way that people interpret fandom and the way that they execute it in fan fiction.
right. Because some people have come up with some really awesome ideas for alternative scenarios that plausibly could have happened.
Right, that's the big thing, is that all fandom leaves little cracks, as we call it. Like little cracks of things where it's like, oh, that path would have been really interesting, but the creator didn't go that way. I would like to explore that little crack in the cement, so to
Yeah,
speak.
like I'd like to see what could have been from that path.
Right. Like the what if scenario is probably the primary thing of most fan fiction. The problem is that
Hmm,
most people turn that into automatically it has to do with romance. Oh, the what if this character ended up with this one instead. And yeah, I guess some of those are interesting, but I'm much more interested in some of the stuff that's lesser talked about. Like,
right. Like alternate scenarios that looked like they could have happened if certain characters did things differently.
well, a great example would be, and this is kind of, a big, I wouldn't say quite a spoiler, not a spoilerino exactly, but um, kind of a tip off of a future project I might be working on. So Aqua,
Mm,
you kind of know about this project already. I've mentioned to a few of my people that read my stuff that when I'm done with the big project I'm working on right now for Kingdom Hearts, after a break and maybe working on some other projects, I have another Kingdom Hearts project that I have had a lot of ideas for. I grew up in the era like where Kingdom Hearts first came out, and I did a lot of research as to the origins of Kingdom Hearts as a project, all of the developmental hurdles that Kingdom Hearts went through, and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that was a big deal to me is the secret cutscene at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1
oh yes.
and the implications of that cutscene. Because it showcases, for anyone who doesn't know, there is a secret trailer at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. If you've completed the game 100%, there is a way to unlock this trailer. And the trailer is essentially a sneak peek trailer for Kingdom Hearts 2. Now we didn't get Kingdom Hearts True. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts True. That's that is when Nomura speaks his truth about Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts
Hearts.
True and then Kingdom Hearts False.
It's like new Pokemon games, True and False. Um, no, Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't come out for another 3 to 4 years after the first game. And in that time, the game went through some difficulties in development, but they're really good at hiding it because obviously Chain of Memories came out in between. Uh, but what I will say is, if you've ever seen the secret trailer, it shows the scene from Kingdom Hearts 2 Well, the flashback scene. It's the one that actually happens in
Yeah.
358 over 2 days,
I mean,
where. Go ahead.
based on it, it looks like the game went through a lot of major changes.
Yeah, it
Just
did.
looking at it.
Oh, for sure. I would not be surprised, especially because, again, what I'm about to get into kind of talks about what I think the game was actually supposed to be, or at least a fan theory, we'll call it.
Yes.
But it shows the character in the hood that's fighting the Heartless on the ground in front of Memory's skyscraper. And then it shows that character starts running up Memory skyscraper, and Riku is standing on top of Memory skyscraper, and he has the blindfold on. And
Yeah.
then he jumps off the building, grabs a keyblade that was thrown to him by the other person, and starts fighting the Heartless.
Which,
Now,
by the way, that would have been so freaking cool to have that as a feature in the game.
while we're you spoiling spoilerinos about my projects. so so here's the thing. Um the phrase why do you have the keyblade in that particular trailer, in the secret trailer, there is no actual image for that. It's just text on screen that says, why do you have the keyblade, question mark. Now in the later trailer, they have it where it's Riku asking, why do you have the keyblade? And then in Kingdom Hearts 2 and in parts of 358 over 2 days where they recount this scene, it's Riku laying on the ground going, why? Why do you have the Keyblade? And then Roxas goes, shut up, and goes to smack him with the Keyblade.
Great
Now,
response by Roxas, by the way.
Roxas, why are you so angry? He's so fucking angry. Well, we know why he's angry, but that's not the point. Angry boy.
mm, angsty teen.
But so, what's it called? I've done a little bit of research into the development of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And in my personal opinion, when you consider um that trailer specifically also talks about the scene at the end of 2 where Riku and Sora are sitting on the beach, the dark beach, and
Yeah.
it's before they get the bottle that has Kyrie's message in it. Now, in that trailer, the bottle with Kyrie's message doesn't exist. It's just the image
Mhm.
of the dark shores looking out into like the bright sky, even though it looks like it's nighttime.
That
And
is really interesting, actually.
yeah, because there's a second trailer, and the second trailer has the bottle laying on the beach. But again, the way that the trailer designed it, it looks like the bottle has been sitting there for a long time and that it's not Kyrie's. Like,
Mm.
she's not the one who sent the message. It looks
So,
like the bottle was there, and the message isn't even in the bottle, actually, in the second secret trailer.
so there's a possibility that Kyrie probably wasn't meant to be in the second game at all, or at the very least, very little.
Not necessarily, but she certainly wasn't supposed to be involved with the ending. Or if she was, she isn't the reason why Sora and Riku end up back on Destiny Islands.
Mm.
But more where I'm going with this is that in the original trailer, the person in the dark robe who climbs up Memory's skyscraper and throws the Keyblade to Riku is a brunette. They are not blonde. Roxas is blonde. Sora is a brunette. And it would make a lot more sense why Sora, in a dark robe, threw his Keyblade to his partner, his best friend, to start helping him fight the Heartless.
Yes, it would
And
make more sense.
and so I genuinely believe that ultimately that scene was changed. And I also believe that the scene at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, where Sora and Riku are sitting on the dark shores, was supposed to happen way earlier on in the game. Because they sit there not for very long. And it seems very out of place to be like, oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Sora and Riku are stuck in the Dark Realm forever. And they specifically make a comment. Sora specifically says to Riku, well, they both actually talking to each other. Riku's like, yeah, well, the Light Realm is safe now. Our friends are safe, and that's all that matters. And Sora then responds with, yeah, that's right. Even if we can't be with them, we will be the darkness, and we will protect the
Mm,
light from this side. That is an
yeah.
actual quote.
And then it feels kind of rushed afterwards that the scene is kind of glossed over not long after.
Exactly. It's like why imply this thing is going to happen? And then immediately after it's like, "Oh yeah, and then Kyrie's bottle and oh look, we're back now. You don't have to stay in the dark realm. Yay." It feels like the developers really didn't want to get rid of that scene and it probably was way earlier on in the plot. And they wanted to do a thing where Sora and Riku were running around in the realm of darkness, almost the way that Organization 13 ran around in the world of darkness, and just have them fighting Heartless and, almost
Yeah,
looking like they're Organization 13 members.
which honestly would have been a cool alternative to what we actually got.
Oh, I agree. And I also believe that the whole thing where you like throw the Keyblade to each other was supposed to possibly be a mechanic. And that's what that trailer was actually supposed to showcase was uh Sora and Riku were supposed to be two playable characters and you could possibly switch between them by throwing the Keyblade back and forth.
That
So,
or even co-op, which would have been awesome to have
oh yeah,
co-op.
two-player would have been fucking amazing. Not gonna lie, that would have been awesome. So, why am I babbling on about all this? Well, again, I thought about this for a while and I was like, why don't I just write a fan fiction for that? That is based on the secret trailer and based on, stuff that was probably cut from Kingdom Hearts because they changed the
Hmm.
direction.
Basically, what if the secret trailer happened?
Right, exactly.
Great.
And it didn't get changed to being Roxas in the secret trailer later on when they did the full reveal for Kingdom Hearts 2's trailer. Like, it would be awesome.
It would. So
But,
sad that they didn't do a co-op mode.
oh, I would have loved it. It would have been so awesome.
The replayability to that would have been so high.
It would have. It also would have explained a lot of the action commands from Kingdom Hearts 2. Because you'd hit an action command and your partner would have to hit it, like, probably around the same time, and you do a
Right,
special
otherwise
move.
you'd fail.
Right. You do a special move and you just beat the shit out of stuff.
Hmm.
It would have been awesome.
Missed
Um,
opportunity.
but going back to the original topic, you can't get stuff like that if the implication
Is that
of,
you know nothing.
well, not even that, but if the implication of modern fan fiction is going to be the new standard of fan fiction, then fan fictions like what I just described won't happen.
Yeah, because
Because,
they don't have any context for it. How would they have known that there's an extra cutscene at the end of the first game if they don't even know what the first game was about?
right, exactly, and they don't bother to look. It also kind of ruins fandom because, and I'm kind of suffering through this right now, in reference to this topic. I will go into a server and I will be like, "Hey, who here knows Kingdom Hearts?" And like 5 people will metaphorically raise their hand. They'll be like, "Oh, me, I know Kingdom Hearts." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Who's your favorite character?" And they're like, "Sora." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Like,
Uh,
okay, what else do you know?
right.
Just Sora.
And it's like, wait, what do you mean just Sora? And they'll turn around and be like, yeah, lol, I only played the first one, but Sora was my favorite. It's like, there's like 10 other games, right? Like 10 other games. You're gonna
Or
tell
even
me you only
worse.
played one?
Or even worse, they didn't even finish or know most of the first game, just Sora.
Yeah, I like Keyblade. And Aqua, you and I, for a while, we were doing the Kingdom Hearts D&D, right?
Yep.
Where we had the D&D server on
And
Discord.
oh boy, that was a mess.
The fucking shit show that was. Yeah, we ran a D&D server for a while. And we invited people, whether it was through Discord or even people we knew in person. Every person that showed up had not played a Kingdom Hearts game. And or if they had played one, they didn't finish it. So it's all these people going, I want to get into this fandom. That's cool. You can get into the fandom, but maybe this isn't the place for you if you're still trying to get into the fandom.
But I
What?
like D&D, and I want to know more about Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, well then you need to do some research while you're playing then. Oh, but that's too much effort. That was like the shitty thing, right? Is especially
Mm-hmm.
that they just kept saying,
That, or there were people who said that they had the information, and then they started playing the game and knew nothing.
right, like they lied to us because they wanted to play something different. But then they were the same people who immediately would complain about a mechanic that they didn't understand where the mechanic came from, like materia. Materia is from Final Fantasy VII. And the first thing that was said was, that seems dumb. Why do we have that? Because it's from
Because
Final
it's part
Fantasy
of the,
VII.
yeah.
That's so stupid, though. Like, they can just put the magic in like, their cufflink on their arm, and they don't have to learn the spell. Yeah, but if anyone ever steals their materia, it's gone. That's
Yeah,
still
unlike a
stupid.
learned spell.
Right, exactly. It's like they didn't understand that, yeah, you technically have access to multiple spells at once, but the kickback to that is if anyone ever steals your shit, you're fucked. And on top of that, it takes a little bit longer to get to the higher level spells, at least the way that we were running the game, because you
Yeah.
have to gain experience for your materia, which is canon even to the original 7.
Mm-hmm. And for the most part, we tried to keep things as accurate to the what they were from their sources as possible.
Right, exactly. Um, but generally, if that is what the future is for people getting into stuff, and or for people reading fan fiction, it's not a very good future for fan fiction writers.
No, because any fun from the, fandoms they're connected to will either die out or it'll just be replaced by pandering
Well,
and nothing else.
I think the worst part about it is I really love hiding Easter eggs in my chapters. And I really like making references to very obscure things in said fandom. Because I like to show off the fact that, like, I care about this series. And it's fine if people don't get those things. That's okay. I don't have a problem with people not understanding something that I've done because maybe they're not educated in the source material.
Right.
What I have a problem with, though, is you have these people who are in the original writing mindset. Everything that they do has to do with original writing, original fiction, original fantasy, all that stuff. And they will try to give a critique on something. And instantly, they will see the Easter egg or they will see the reference, and their response is, why did you put that there? And my response is, I put it there because it's a reference to X thing. Well, still, why would you do that? It seems dumb. Okay, why does it seem dumb to you? Is it
Like, why does
possibly,
it matter? Why does
yeah,
it matter to them?
Like, you aren't involved in this fandom, so why do you get to judge it and say that it's dumb? These are the same people who generally, when they are critiquing something, they actually can't give an original thought as to why something is wrong. Even when it's like original content that they're critiquing. And it sucked when I used to actually do original content and not fan fiction. Um, but I used to do original content for the longest time, and I would go to a workshop and I would display my work, and they'd always go, "This thing is bad." And I go, "Okay, why is it bad?" "Because me no like it."
Well, that's
Okay.
not a good reason to say it's bad.
Right, exactly. It's like, okay, you don't have to like it. Tell me why it is bad aside from the fact that you do not like it. Give me an actual, like, academic reason.
And then
Like,
usually they would probably say, "'Cause I don't understand it," but that's not your fault.
well, they don't say that it's not your fault part. They say the whole because me no like it, essentially. It's not
No, I
even it's not even that they don't understand it, it's they don't like it. It's not their cup of tea. It's not their
that or
preference.
that or it's not written the way that they like it.
Right. So, like, words. Apologies. It, there are different formats for different types of writing. And if I write a poem and submit the poem, to a workshop, I should not have to worry that someone is going to critique my poem based on prose. Because prose and poetry tend to work on different formats.
Right? Because that would be really stupid.
Right, and there's at least 7 to 10 different formats for poetry. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but there's quite a few different formats for poetry. And that makes no sense to have someone looking at your what's it called?
Your
Someone
work.
to be looking at your poems and going, "This doesn't fit proper prose, therefore it's bad." Okay, can you tell me why it's bad? In proper prose? Because this isn't a project that's in proper prose. So why are you judging it on a set of rules that don't apply? The same thing goes for fan fiction writing and traditional writing. I wouldn't go to a workshop for original writing and critique something based on fan fiction rules. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it's not how the thing would typically be set up either.
It just doesn't apply like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go to someone and be like, "Okay, where's the source material that I read before I actually read your original work?" It's like, no, you don't understand. The original work is the original content. No, no, no. I'm supposed to have something that I read before I read your stuff.
Right, you're supposed to explain all these characters to me. I don't know who they are. You have to tell me.
Yeah, you have to mainstream it for me. You well, not mainstream. You have to streamline it. Yeah, streamline it for me. You have to make it so that I don't have to play guessing games. I can just read and I don't have to think about it. I already know who
I,
these characters are.
yeah,
I don't have to worry about all the details. Which, to be
I want
fair,
summaries and bios of all your characters.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, submit to me an exterior book that goes with the first book. It tells me who all the characters are, so I don't have to be confused during
I
your
need it.
writing.
I need a character guide.
I need a chart that tells me who Bibbidi Boobidi is and why he's bad. But yeah, it's very silly. It's very, very silly. And it's sad. Cause again, that wouldn't happen in a workshop. If you did
Yeah,
that, they'd kick you the fuck out.
And they have every right to do so at that
Oh,
point.
for sure. But with fan fiction it happens all the time in the opposite
And
direction.
yeah, and people just don't care. And that's sad. Because they should.
Well, it stifles creativity. And that's more where I was going with this topic today, is that it really does stifle creativity.
Yeah.
It kind of blows.
I mean, you can't really let the imagination flow when someone's in the corner saying, "Hey, you didn't explain all this shit to me, so I don't like it."
You didn't explain it to me like I'm 5. You didn't explain to me who Sora is and why he has a keyblade.
I
Okay,
just want to sit in the corner and see two people kissy each other. That's all I want.
well, when did this turn into Tomska? Fucking the two people sitting under the moon. Hey, you two should kiss. Oh, but again, it's just very silly. I don't know. Well, friends, I think we
Thank
can
you
pretty
for
much.
listening
Yeah, I
to
think.
our rant.
Yeah, it's the long rant about fan fiction. We'll probably do another long rant just like this one. Thank you
Future.
for thank you for listening. Um, if you guys want to see more content like this, let us know.
Yes. Any feedback would be appreciated.
If you want to tell me in the comments why I'm wrong and why all fan fiction should have the giant microscope put on and be like, "No, I need to I need to s- constantly just project into people's brains 24/7 with my first 7 chapters of my fan fiction and over
Yes.
explain the plot of Kingdom Hearts."
So over explained to the point of turning into goo.
No, I don't want goo brain. Oh no. I don't want to give the audience goo brain either. They won't read any more of my work if their brain stops working. Either way, it was nice, having this
Talking to
chance.
you.
Well, are we talking to them? Eventually when we start streaming, I guess we will be talking to them. Presently, it's just recordings right now, but maybe
Yes.
maybe we'll do
For
a few
now.
of the podcasts where it's actual like live and people can yell at us and they can pay us really low quality super chat money to yell at us. I sent
Oh
$1.
yes.
You
All
suck.
the yelling.
Dance harder, monkey. Sent 50 cents. Do a dance and record it so I can see it. Not for 50 cents, I ain't.
Dance monkey.
But anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for being with us today. Again, we're still settling into this whole podcast thing and everything else on the channel. So bear with us, guys. It's going to be a long ride, but
Yep.
I think it's going to be fun. What do you think, Aqua?
It seems like it's going to be fun, especially with the topics we have in store later.
Ah, yes, all the topics I have on my list. All right, everyone. It's been Indigo,
And Aqua.
signing off. Bye, everybody.
See you later.